Yeah, good evening and welcome all to the Student-Led Research Club Initiative, a program from the Manuscript Writing Hub which aims to build the capacity of various research clubs within medical and dental school in Nigeria. In Manuscript Writing Hub, what we do is to empower African researchers from students to early career researchers and even senior researchers to build the capacity to write quality research work to be able to meet up with what is expected of the current world that we live in. We have three main faculties and mentors within the Manuscript Writing Hub. I'm Dr. Kudus Lawal. I'm a facilitator on the Manuscript Writing Hub. And I also have Dr. Osawan Otaibe. Dr. Osawan? Dr. Otaibe?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear you the last time.
I was just introducing, yes, and we also
Introducing.
have...
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have our mentor, our senior facilitator and convener of this group, in person of Professor Morenike Oluwatoyin Folayan, a fellow of the Academy of Science, a renowned pediatric dentist, and a foremost researcher in Nigeria who is leading all of this and will be taking you guys today on building high impact research clubs, vision, mission, and measurable outputs. This topic is important in setting the goals for your research club, and I want you to listen carefully and follow the conversation. At the end of the day, we are going to be giving some important information. Please, may I hand over the mic to Professor Morenike Folayan to take the stage. Prof, over to you, ma.
Thank you so much. There's somebody whose video is on, daughter. Can you please switch off video? Thank you. Could you please switch off the video of this person? Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. I can only imagine that you might have been tired. This is the last hour of a very hectic week for anybody known as a medical or dental student. Thanks for those of you that are here. And those of you that need to remind your colleagues to be here, please do remind them. We'll recognize that on the platform when we're introducing ourselves, it was only 3 teams that introduced themselves. We're supposed to be 8 teams, so we're missing 5. And that's starting to reflect on the number of attendees. Please, the platform is a space for us to engage and interact. If you feel that there's anything challenging in your ability to engage or interact, please do share immediately on the platform. It's a very flexible space. The space is all about you. And therefore, we have to walk through this to make it work for you. Our first session today is looking at what your research club is. While the rest of the 11 weeks will be focused on building some peculiar capacity, please note that we appreciate one thing, and that is the sustainability and the legacy of a research club that you want to leave behind. Research clubs need systems and structures. It will be foolhardy to train 1 or 2 persons on how to write a manuscript, and then that person leaves because it's not a structure. Your research clubs within your universities are not structures that has leadership that stays there forever. Your leadership keeps changing. And therefore, it will be an erroneous investment in continuously and forever building the capacity of 1, 2, 3, 4 persons in the research club, only for that person to leave with that capacity. Therefore, what you're going to see us walk through with you over the next 11 weeks is how you will build a research club that ends up living well beyond you. It was really nice to see that there's a research club that has been operational for 24 years. But please appreciate also that there are many research clubs that have started and have failed. They haven't been sustained. So please go through with us at this time, knowing that our focus is building your competence as capacity as leaders to understand the context where you operate, understand the group of people you probably will be working with, and instituting a research club that when you come back in 10 years' time as a consultant, as a resident, whatever capacity, as a visiting alumnus, it to do you good and pride to see how your investment at this time is taking your research club forward. So let's start by understanding what makes most research clubs fail. When there's no clarity of purpose, you find that people lose interest after some meeting because they're there with their own objective. And the research club is very clear about what its objectives or its purpose are. You would design the activities of that research club in a way that it meets the objectives. But beyond that, everybody, because whatever you do is written and is clear, everybody aligns, and those that do not align will not be there. So clarity matters. It's also very important that beyond clarity, you must have measurable goals to enable you celebrate your successes, to enable you identify where you need to take redress in ways to reach your goals. So goals are needed to be set in ways that they are smart and you can measure them and give feedback. For you as leaders, these goals are needed for you to be able to give an account at the end of the year of what you have achieved. And for those of you that might want to seek for funding or support, clarity of goals enables you to do that, convincing the persons you go to seek for funds or support. And with this clarity, you can otherwise define outputs and outcomes. Okay? You will be able to define outputs and outcomes. And you can share that with your leadership. When you go to meet your heads of department, deans, and provosts, you will be able to show with clarity and a history of clarity what you have achieved. Okay, so what are this problem? When there's no clarity of vision, you lose members, the research club eventually dies. When there's no measurable goal, there's nothing you are collectively celebrating. And in the absence of what keeps people celebrating or being rewarded, even they themselves will be able to assess what otherwise they should be gaining from this. There's nothing, there isn't a reward system, and therefore they leave. And that reward system makes the output of your research club visible to you as leaders, visible to the members, and visible to staff and seniors in the college who would otherwise be continuously giving you support. So let's start to look at what it means for you to organize a club that would be impactful. We need to make impact by establishing the 3 pillars. What's your inspiration? Which is your vision? Where are we all going to when we're in the boat of your research club? If anybody joins that club, where is the club leading this individual to? And in terms of the actions, the steps you want to, the building blocks to that vision, what should we be doing? Is it on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis? And that way we can monitor our progress towards this aspirational goal, which we call a vision. And that measurement, that action plan, which is the mission, enables us measure outputs, and then we can celebrate success. Please know that without those measurable outputs, you might get distracted, go other way, and have successes in other things that are not the very vision that you want to have. For example, your members can get married, your members can buy cars, your members can whatever. These are successes, but these are not the successes for this research club. And if you're not clear from the beginning, you will celebrate those successes. At least 5 of us students have house jobs and 6 has, but those are not success measurement for your impact. Those are extra. You can call them secondary or tertiary, but the primary output has to be defined so that we celebrate together on a common achievement. So at the end of the session, you're going to, oh geez, I don't know what happened. Just hold on a minute. At the end of the session, I'm going to require you to do an assignment, the 8 of you here, so that we have clarity moving us on to the next phase of this training. In the 11 weeks, there must be clarity about where we're going. So when you want to define your vision, please know that's going to be your assignment this week, and you're going to submit that assignment. You have to define the mission, vision and mission and measurable goals for your own research club. So when we talk about vision, what we're saying in one sentence is the future you want to create is an aspiration. In 5-10 years, where do you want to see us getting to? Examples are these two: to make research a routine part of every medical student's journey, or to produce the next generation of clinician scientists from our university. You must have a vision. It's that vision that keeps you awake at night. It's that vision that makes you think and create. It's the excitement of that vision that allows you to do something and hand over the baton, knowing that the vision is not completed. And the next leader, you can speak with definitency when you are handing over the baton of leadership to the next person, taking over leadership from you, that this is where we're going and this is how far we've gone with this baton. It's just one big, bold sentence. Having said that, I'll say one or two things before we move on to the next phase. We do know that research is not routinely integrated into medical students' curriculum. We also appreciate that to integrate research, it's a long-term thing. You can't have 2-3 lectures of research and say you're done. Yet, the medical curriculum is that heavy that it cannot allow for integration of more than 2-3 lectures. It's also to note that the Nigerian vision of the clinician, of the medical and dental students, is to make them clinician. Unfortunately, we're not teaching how research drives that clinical practice. And so research is completely made rudimentary, and the focus is very heavy on clinical care. Yet, clinical care only improves and gets better when you understand the power of research, driven by creativity and innovation, when your eyes can see troubles and your system can design answers to those troubles in the clinic so that patients' experience can be better. This, unfortunately, was the miss that the foundation fathers of medical schools in the country actually missed. Unfortunately, we're in a system that is very slowly responsive to change. And therefore, the system to change that clinical focus care, to integrate research as a routine process in training our students is missed. That is why for you, operating research clubs, your roles are very critical. You are addressing a missed element in the medical students' curriculum, which is essential for going forward in the 21st century. There is nowhere you're going to leave from Nigeria to any other part of the world where already that research integration hasn't happened, but it's not here. So your forming research club is not an accident. You are very visionary and very, anticipatory. You're on the right path. But here is the challenge. You are on the right path in a way that you're complementing what medical school should be doing. Therefore, your work should understand the context that you operate in and therefore operate as a complementary, not a silo. You must focus appropriately. What is it that you're doing? It's not just about writing papers. It's about ensuring that your capacity of your members is built in a way that they become clinician scientists. The training is such that it enables them to see themselves as researchers, even though they are clinicians. And therefore, in their everyday to-day clinical, 1 clinical, 2 clinical, 3 practice, they must see the research element in their clinical practice and build that competency that even as students, they are addressing in the clinic. This is the difference in terms of your focus. You cannot push your research club as a parallel siloed system that is helping people to produce manuscripts. No, your focus as undergraduate medical and dental research personnel is to build the competency of your members to be innovative and creative enough to be able to see research within the clinical care, which is the 100% context of medical curriculum. And in that context, even as students, they ask those critical questions that even enables their seniors to think. And for maybe the seniors may write and they themselves may query and also write. This is what we are talking about. Your vision must be clear. And your vision must be such that if you lay stepping stones through your mission, you will be able to get objectives one step at a time, enough for you to hand over your baton to somebody else. I'm going to take a pause here and ask one or two or three of you to give me a brief summary of what you think you have heard. Let me start with Abubakar. Abubakar, would you like to unmute your mic? That is Alamin Abubakar. Would you like to unmute your mic and tell me one or two things that you think you've heard from what I have said in the last few minutes? Abubakar, are you there? Kudus, are you sure anybody can unmute their mics? Let me first be sure. Okay. Abubakar, please go ahead. What have you heard me say so far?
Yes, I have heard you, but unfortunately, it's not been more than 5 minutes since I joined. I'm sorry, but I think in the last couple of minutes after I have joined, I have asked you the critical role of the research clubs, that we are bridging the gap which medical schools are
All
lacking.
right, let's listen to those that were here so that you can also learn from them. I'm glad that you were able to join in the last 5 minutes. I'm sure I think there's somebody that is having trouble with the internet also, falling in and out. Okay, let me ask Amer. Amer Yahaya, what have you learned? Just one thing that you have heard me say so far that makes sense to you. Yes?
All right. Thank you very much. Please, am I audible?
Very audible, yes.
All right. So like just put it briefly, like what I got here is about like the sustainability involved in the research club.
Okay, thank you. So you're listening to about the sustainability. Thank you very much. Arnold, did you
As
hear
per research
anything?
club is about like moving, because like you just can't meet for people that will leave. Please, okay, please, am I audible?
Yes, I think your
Hello?
internet is breaking. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I mean like the main thing you are trying to say is about the sustainability. As per the research club, it's not about building the research capacity of a single person or a group of people that will just go and leave the club without like training the next generation to be able to like carry on the battle. So it's about training all the members so that they can like as per like continue the work of the research club even after like the initial leaders have left the club.
Thank you very much for sharing that insight. I also ask Arnold. Arnold, is there anything you've learned in the last few minutes here before I move on? And Arnold Pura.
Yes, ma, I've been following you. Yes,
I know you.
sorry, can you hear me?
Okay, let me teach you something here also. I tell people, I say it's a Nigerian thing when you're there are two things Nigerians will do. They will say, can you hear me? They will say, can you see my slides? If you're a good presenter, you don't need to say those things, okay? Because this is also about building you and your public speaking capacity. If your slide is not showing, somebody will unmute the mic and tell you, your mic is not showing, your video is not showing. If they can't hear you, somebody will let you know. So there's no point repeatedly saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Or can you see my slide? It doesn't make good, okay? So that's one skill you will also take away from here. So Arnold, please unmute your mic and tell me just one thing. Don't greet me, don't say anything, just go straight and tell me one thing that you think you've learned so far. Thank you. Arnold. Arnold. Okay. I think we've lost Arnold. Let me hear a female. Eunice Aganga. I assume that's a female because of the name. Eunice Aganga, is there anything you've learned so far? Just one thing. Or if Eunice is not there, any female on this group?
Good evening, ma.
Good evening, Eunice. Please share just one thing you've learned so far.
Okay, I learned that we should set goals, and these goals should be something we can quantify and be able to give accounts of, and to also show clarity of what we've been able to achieve. So the goal should be measurable, and we should also have an inspiration on why we are doing research that will keep us going as time goes on. And okay, you said one. Then
Yes, I
just
can see you're joining 5 things with and, but it still sounds like one sentence. Yes, I'm
yeah,
listening.
and research should be complementary, and the purpose why we should do research is to build our members to become clinician scientists, in which that they're able to carry out clinical practice and also query some parts of clinical practice. Why is it like this? What can be done to be improved on?
Okay,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
That's a really long one sentence, but thank you for summarizing what I've said from the very beginning. I'm glad that there's some clarity for those of you on the call. So we'll talk about the fact that for this meeting, you're going to do 3 things. You're going to define the vision of your group, the mission, and your measurable indicators. So we're starting with vision. So the next thing is for you to craft your mission. Mission says what you actually want to do, how you want to achieve the goal of your vision. It's an action-oriented thing. And this is all of you, for all you know, in all the research clubs in Nigeria might have a single vision, but your missions cannot be the same. All of you can have, the same vision. We all want our students to be clinical scientists, but the mission now takes into cognizance or context your peculiarities, which acts the actions that you want to take. For the audience, the method, and the outcome. And I give an example, which you should have already read by the slides I sent to you. So what is the name? Your research club will train undergraduate medical and dental students in grant writing, or will train medical and dental students in manuscript development, or train medical and dental students in ethical research practices so that they can lead Africa's health research agenda. What you've seen us do here, what I've given an example, are 3 different targeted approaches. You don't have to do the 3. This is where the mission starts to differ between all of you. You all might have one vision, like I said, but your mission may be different. In your own research group, it might be focused on ethical research practice. Once you understand the context where you live and see that unethical practice is such a problem, your mission for the next 5, 10 years may just be ethical research practice. Others may just be manuscript development, because in some places, manuscript development is not a problem. They already are into it even as medical and undergraduate students. But ethical research might become an issue, including the fact that you find out that in your school, there's AI use that is being abused. That may be the way you want to go. Or you might want to do grant writing, because some places, the undergraduate students are already on to grant writing. You might want to strengthen that so that at the end of the year, you're looking towards 5 persons, 10 persons, 20 persons, 20 undergraduate students every year having access to grant writing opportunities. You see that once your mission is clear, the stepping stones to get there would be different from one another. Don't take too much mission. Don't take too much mission. It is true that once you're talking about research clubs, the grant writing is an element, research practice is an element. It might not just be ethics. You might be that for your year, for your 5 years is about understanding the research guidelines, standards of research practices. It might not be ethics, it might be the standards. So just take it in small chunks. Don't do too many. Don't come to a research club and be doing 5 things and 5 goals. No. Let it be known that when you go to research club in Ibadan, this is their focus. If it's Sokoto, this is their focus. If it is the East, this is their focus. Choose a focus. It might be 1 or 2, but 3 is a lot because your measures and indicator will be a lot. And please note once again, remember what I said, you're going to hand over the baton. No work is really finished. Once you're done so well with manuscript development, the next thing might be ethics. My ethics might be research study. The next might be dissemination. Some places dissemination is a problem. They just do research. They don't know what dissemination is. Even as undergraduate students, what does it do to disseminate research results? In that case, maybe what you do is unearth the research results that comes from your colleges, from your seniors, and you plan a dissemination plan with that, where you go, you do a town gown project, you are disseminating. Be clear with your mission. I think that's what I'm saying. And then, of course, is your measurable outputs, because this is how you know you've done something, and that's the game changer. If it's training you're focusing on and building capacity around ethics, then you want to know the number of students you're training and certified receiving ethics. Just take this also in one hand, and I'll tell you also something, your methodology of getting here. If it's publication, you may want to know how many people are submitting abstracts for conferences, how many people are getting called for oral presentations at conferences, how many people are getting called for poster presentation. If it's grant writing, you want to know the total number of grants, small grants that are received, the total number of money that comes into that grant. If it's about engagement, even your program can be such that you're not doing grant writing, capacity building, you are working in a way that you're engaging your colleagues in research activities. There's so many things you can do. And if it's leadership, you want to know how you're training as leading people, students, your colleagues, to be leaders on projects. So let's look at, for example, one case of a research club that I put here. The name of the university is University of Makuro. It doesn't exist. What's the vision? The vision is that every medical graduate has conducted one research project. Every medical graduate has conducted one research project. Very simple. And this vision can last for the next 25 years. The mission is that we mentor small teams through the full research cycle, because you want them to have done your one research project. In the entirety of your project, you look at what the research cycle is, starting from group team formation through to protocol development, protocol submission for ethics clearance, and implementation on the field, and dissemination, and then manuscript. That might be the cycle. So you have mentored. And what you're looking for, you must put numbers. There is no way you can have output without numbers. So our number is 45 students have been trained in grant writing, 6 have won small grants, 3 have submitted abstract that is accepted at national conferences. You remember what the word is, national conferences. That might not be your goal. And then at the end of 1 year, we have 95% of our members still attending the meetings. And over 1 year, we've had an additional 10%. What are these 10%? You must be able to put it so that you can measure it. This is very simple. But this itself can take, somebody's full-time job to achieve. I wouldn't expect you to have so many outputs. Okay? So what is your assignment for this program? And you're going to submit it at the end of the day. Dr. Lawal will tell you the address where you're supposed to submit. We'll be expecting 8 of you to submit by Thursday before next Friday. I want you to clearly deliver for me what the goal, vision, and mission of your research club is. How you want to operate, including your meeting templates. How do you track your attendance? Remember, your number might be that you have. For 95% of your members retained at the end of 1 year, and then you have 10% increase. How do you want to track if it's grant writing? What template? How are you going to track it? It doesn't have to be all of this. But the way we have structured our program for the 11 weeks will take you through how to look at these things. This week is the first week you're looking at vision and mission. The next week's lecture will be telling you about operations. In the weeks 3 to 5, you'll be looking at grants and funding. And in the week 6 to 9, you'll be looking at manuscript writing. And week 10 and 11 is completely focused on your leadership. So this is how we're going to take you through this. But you would have designed what you want to do, and you would sharpen it as we're going through this, listening to this lecture, so that you can define what your own measurable indicators are once you are defining your own research club goals. So once again, you're going to send me for this week your draft vision, which is a sentence, a mission statement, not more than 1 to 2, and your measurable outputs. Okay? And please submit that by the 24th. That is, I think that's Thursday before the next Friday. And Dr. Kudus will tell you how to submit. So, in closing, please note that your research club should be your legacy. I was the Dean of the Faculty of Dentistry about 3 years ago. I was there for 2 years. Yes, I think almost 3 years now. And I've been away. I've been out of the faculty for a while. I came in December, and I went around and I felt really happy because the many things that I'd instituted as dean were still ongoing. I smiled and I said many things many people would never remember who it was that instituted it. Two weeks ago, I gave a lecture and then they gave me a gift, and I laughed and I told them that, why am I laughing? That this was exactly what I did 3 years ago, so that it's still happening and somebody is doing exactly what I did 3 years ago makes my heart joyful. That's exactly the kind of story you would be wanting to say. That for you leading the research club, and I noticed that there's one that is just starting, a very young one, 3 months old. 3 months old, yes. You must set it up right so that you come back to that institution as a resident and the research club is functioning, and you can, with pride, say that's your legacy. So in so doing, make sure that your vision inspires and your mission acts, your metrics prove that you indeed have a legacy. You don't need permission to start at all. All you just need is clarity, and people would follow. And so make this, it's an 11-week program, be your launch pad, and use every lecture, every hour that you're here. Make sure it's put into that legacy you want to build, and ensure that the peer review process, which is we here supporting you, as well as your own peers listening to you, giving you feedback. Oh, this research club has never been this good. Oh, this research club, wow. Can undergraduate students come? Oh, can other people from chemistry, finance also join? Those peer feedbacks are something supposed to empower you. So once again, your homework for tonight is for you to, as a club, on your call or something, spend 45 minutes. If you already have club visions and mission, refine it. And choose 3 measurable outputs to track from today. And that way you submit by Friday. Once again, once I stop now, Dr. Kutus will tell you where to submit. And to note as I end that research clubs, high impact research club, are not built. They don't come from the sky. You build them. They're not born. You build them. There's no inborn research club. There's no inborn leader, actually. You build it. You acquire the skills. You sharpen. So let's start building tonight. On that note, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Lawal and open up the space for questions and answers. And thank you for making time to be here. Over to you, Kudus.
Thank you very much for that session. It's really inspiring, not just for the students, but also for myself as well. Thanks so much. Really appreciate that. Prof has mentioned that you need no permission to start. You need to lay a legacy that lives far beyond you when you leave the system. And it's such legacies that keeps you happy even when you are no more there. So we expect that this will inspire you to go transform your club such that people will start asking you what's the game changer, and you can revert back that it is this 11-week training that transforms your research club, and that's what we look forward to seeing. So with that, I'm opening up the space to for you to ask questions. You can use the e-hand option to raise your hand and you'll be called to me. And if you do not want to speak, but this is your speak, you should feel free to speak. You can also use the chat box anyway.
Yeah, and just to encourage you, I mean, that's part of leadership training, and that's part of your research course space. You would have to learn public speaking, asking questions, engaging. Um, that's part of the learning. So
Yeah,
yes, two things. And yes, just before Timothy, please note that not only do you engage here, the WhatsApp platform space allows you to continue to engage with all of us. And we will share your experience, we will search for information, but also don't keep that WhatsApp space quiet. Please use it actively so that we continue to build our skills beyond this 1 hour session. Over to you, Kudus. Yeah.
thank you very much. Timothy wants to speak. Timothy, you can unmute.
Okay, thank you very much, man. This section was so inspiring for me personally. I I was more motivated to still be leading research club. So, man, I have it's actually a concern actually. So it's not really a question. In my school, Usman Fodio University, Sokoto.
Yeah.
On our group, on our research club group, we have more than, let me say, more than 100 members. And
Okay.
it's always surprising to see that when we call for program, we'll see less than 20, less than 30 people. So and usually when I meet people personally, like what's their challenge and why are they not turning up? Many people usually give reasons that, bro, I have exams to read for, all of those things. So my question now is that, how do we motivate them? How do we let them see that research is not being involved in research is not something that is going to impact their academics negatively? I mean, what are practical steps that we can take, ma? That's my question, ma.
I think you've asked excellent question, very excellent question. And I'll answer it in 1, 2 ways, but then open up the space also to Kudus, to Osaho, as well as your colleagues themselves to also answer. First, let me note this, that is one of the reasons I started it at the beginning, that the way you vision and the way you draw up your mission and action items must be context specific. In effect, you cannot look at Ibadan. This is what Ibadan is doing, and then go and do it at Usman Dafodio. People in Enugu cannot look at Usman Dafodio and say, this is how Usman Dafodio is doing it. I'm working it and do it. No, you must understand your context. That's the first thing. The second thing, you will appreciate one of the things I said at the beginning, that the way, if you run a research club that allows research to be looked at as a parallel, so what you're doing is a silo, people will drop off because it means it's like joining a club. It's when you have time. And it is a silo because they're not seeing that there's the risk of seeing it as, it doesn't impact my routine work. I have to pass my exams. The way you're structuring the research club is not allowing it to be integrated into their practice so that they know that if I don't come, I've missed a lot. So what you're saying is that when you operate a research club where it is parallel, and you're seeing research as something independent of clinical practice, it is those that will have time that will come. Not that they are not interested, but you see their primary goal is to pass the exams and move on. Clubs are voluntary things. So that is where your innovation must come in such a way that the every moment that you're bringing people together, they know that, I wasn't there. It will be so difficult. They'll be begging you to record because they know they are missing. And then number 3, before I end, When you're organizing research club, don't always do it in a way that you make yourself teachers. One of the things I recognize as Nigerians is if you do things in research club in a way that instant certificate and improves their CV, you might end up having many people participate. So you don't have to do ethics training. You can manage and say, oh, there's an ethics training program, okay, online. Recommend that ethics training online to people and monitor them. So over 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks, we're going to have every one of you go to take this course online. So the first week you monitoring people. How many people have taken? Did you see this question? Are we going to implement it in our university? This question they raised is so much of a problem here. How do you want to change? That way, in that 2-3 weeks, they've gained the certificate. It has improved their CV. They would only go to that link because they have to come through you. I'm just imagining. So people will come because they will get a certificate that will end up improving their CV. In quarter 2, it might be manuscript writing. Okay, and then you organize it for them in a way that it addresses their context, it merges into their clinical work, and then they earn a certificate. They're going to come because certificate matters to Nigerians. Even not Nigerians, it matters to their CV. If by coming to manuscript, your research club in 1 year, they've earned 4 extra certificates, they will stay. These are my thinking, but I'm sure there are others that can also talk to this. Kudus, over to you. Usaho, over to you. And please note that members of this training, over to you if you have thoughts on how to improve people's interest in the research club. Over to you, Kudus.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Incidentally, Aganga asked me a similar question recently. And in addition to what Prof mentioned, not addition actually, just emphasizing what she mentioned, is what I told her, that you need to, people go after value. You need to ensure that your club is providing value that will encourage people to want to be a part of your organization. If you're not providing value, then they won't see the need to engage in whatever you are doing. And part of the value will include giving them access to getting certificates, giving them access to training, building their capacity. So when you create value within your system, people will definitely get engaged and want to interact. But when there is a club that is not providing value, they rather use their time for other things. So there are many competing needs, especially for students in institutions. So you need to build your club in such a way that it's providing a value that the students will be interested in getting. Dr. Sam?
Yeah, I think we've said it all. We must provide value, and then just another thing to let members know. Usually, as medical students, by default, medical school, dental school, it's the work is tasking. There's a lot of work to do. But there's something I normally tell my students. Sometimes you just think that things will get easier as you go higher, but in my own experience, I don't know if it's the same with others, as I kept going higher, I noticed that it kept becoming small things kept coming in. When I was a student, I felt, okay, maybe when I'm done, I'll be freer as a resident. It wasn't like that for me. Okay, as a resident, I felt maybe when I become a consultant, it will be freer for me, but with each movement up, it becomes even more tasking. So I think part of the thing is to, in addition to the fact that we are adding value, I think people should also be made to recognize that it's a part of life. Life, you have to put things, how do I put it, live life as a whole, such that things that are important, you give them that priority. And another thing I would just say is this, research, just like Prof emphasized, in our own setting, it's more like it's an afterthought. But unfortunately, we are in a global village, and our counterparts in other parts of the world, they are deep into research, even as medical students. It was shocking to me when I went for my master's program in the UK, and for me, I think that was about one of the first times I was really sitting down to read journal articles. But reading articles was something students do on a regular basis. It was something that, as a student, you don't just read your textbooks, you read articles and you discuss articles, you have reviews, stuff like that. So those are things that our counterparts in other parts of the world are doing well. I also tell people when I did my own program, there's what we call intercalating students. I had a medical student who was doing the program I did, and she ended up being the best student in my own master's program, somebody who is a medical student. So the point is this: yes, it's tasking, there's a whole lot to do, but I think it's part of the discipline of living, putting things putting things in perspective and doing what's really important. So research should not be seen as an afterthought. It should be seen as a very vital part of one's career as a clinician and a clinician scientist. So that's just the additional thing I'd like to say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Producer and Dr. Otaigbe, for those excellent inputs. Timothy, was your question answered? Timothy, I hope your question was answered. And is there any other person with questions or comments or clarification or additions or discussions? We still have 40 more minutes.
Yeah, just to make some quick announcement while we wait for other questions, Ma. We are going to take a group picture. So while we wait for questions, please you can get ready for the group picture for the start of the program. Okay, let's take more questions first, then we'll come back to that. But just so that you start getting yourself ready for the picture. Any other question?
If you have questions, yes, raise up your electronic hands.
Timothy just sent message that this question was well answered. Thank you, Timothy.
Okay. Daughter, there's somebody's name who's named Daughter there. Daughter, do you want to ask a question? Daughter, do you want to ask a question?
I think
Are you
everyone
sure?
can. Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask again, Daughter, do you want to make a comment or ask a question? Okay. It's nice if you could unmute and say yes or no. So rather than me assuming that it's your spirit that is here, your body has left. Omi Yale Anefa, would you like to ask a question or make a comment?
I'm sorry, ma. I'm good. I'm good. It's just a speaking.
Okay. Thank you. Anefa Omiyale, do you want to make a comment or do you want to ask a question or do you want to clarify anything? Anefa Omiyale. All right, I'll just ask one more question. Chukwuemeka DK, you've been with us on this program, and I noticed that your research club is young. It's 3 months. I felt very proud when I saw that. Is there anything you want to ask or clarify? Otherwise, we'll give you back the rest of your time, the last 10 minutes to you, and looking forward to having you at the next meeting. Chukwuemeka DK, do you have anything you want to say?
Oh, sorry. Anifa said she couldn't unmute herself. I thought I've allowed to unmute. So sorry about that. I would that's
so what?
Aliyah, isn't it?
Can you unmute everybody? Yes, can you unmute everybody?
I did that earlier. I'm surprised.
Yes, I've also done that.
Okay,
thank you. Okay. Anifa Omiale, do you want to say something? Everybody's unmuted now. Yeah. All right then. It's quiet and everybody has the 11 minutes back. Looking forward to seeing you.
I just want to make some announcement, man.
Okay. Yes, I'm handing over to you and saying good night for my end. I hope to engage with you on the platform. Okay,
All
have a
right.
wonderful evening. Over to you, Kutus.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. It has been an exciting session, a good way to start the SLRCI, and I'm sure the participants are happy to be here. Congratulations to all of you. So, some housekeeping rules, which we probably should have started with, but it's also good to give it at this time. For us in manuscript writing up, one of the key things we are key on is time. We are key on time. So you will notice that the session started 6 on dot, and we are aiming to finish within the hour, and that's how all our programs are. So we expect that for all the sessions we're going to be having, we expect that everybody, I mean, you all join the session at the top of the hour. That will be 6 p.m., except otherwise mentioned. I think one of your sessions will be holding 3 p.m., but the information will pass across appropriately. So please ensure you are prompt for all sessions. We also want our participants to keep to rules, and that will include when you won't be able to attend sessions, please send a mail. All communications should be to the email address which I have shared, which we use to invite you to the program. So please ensure that if you're going to miss a session, we understand that you're a medical student and may have some engagement that may affect your participation. Please ensure you communicate that well ahead of time, not after you've missed the session. Then assignments that are shared are expected to be done within the time given. They are not going to be assignments that are going to take so much of your time and distract you from other clinical medical school activities. But they are just things to engage you and to ensure that you learn the principles that are taught during the session. You are going to have various faculties with different expertise taking you during the session. They're going to be giving you different forms of assignment and engagement, all built towards improving your role as leaders in your institution in order to replicate what you've been trained and also build your research club. So we expect that you participate actively in these sessions and you transform your research club. One of our outputs will be that your research club transforms from what it is currently, both for those who have been in existence for over 2 decades and those who started just a few months ago. We want to see a transformation. We want to see your club building and building better than where it was before this program started. Then lastly, please, and note this, please, when you join the session, I notice everybody complied today, and I want it to be like that going forward. Please use your names. We don't want to see your device as your name, and kindly add your institution. So if you are from Ibadan, please add the name of your club Ibadan so that we know which club you are joining from, please. So let's ensure we do all of this. I don't know if Dr. Tagi wants to add one or two, then thereafter we'll take a picture. Dr. Tagi?
No, not from you.
All right,
No.
okay. Okay, so we've shared the schedule already on the club, and Prof has shared some messages to you. So please follow everything. If you have clarification or anything you want to engage with us, we are always on that chat box to engage you. So with that, I say it's a good start for the program, and I look forward to the next 10 weeks of training and interaction with you guys and to build your research club. At this point, I'll plead your indulgence to put your cameras on. Let's take a group picture and speak about the program on LinkedIn and all the social media pages. And I'm going to share the picture on the group so that if you want to use the picture, or you can use the advert to speak about what the program is all about and how it's impacting you. So let's put our videos on and I take a picture. Sorry. Okay. I'm still waiting. It's colorated dark. Yeah, I understand. I actually thought of doing this earlier, but let's take a picture now. Then maybe at the next session we'll take another picture again. Okay. Is there anyone still trying to bring up picture? Video rather. Okay, I'll stay 1 more minute, then I'll take the picture.
1 minute is long. 10 seconds is okay, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, so I'll put on this. Okay, I'm taking it now. I've taken the first one just a minute so that I can paste it before going to the next page. So sorry. Okay, the front page. Thinking there is a way I can take it all one. Hmm.
Any challenges?
Yeah, I want to have everything on a single page, but it seems not to be. Or can you try that from your own end, please?
It's a phone I'm using, so it's not
Oh,
my phone can't pick all of them.
okay. I think I'm almost done.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are done. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a good evening, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.